So we're here today for the Royal College of Music's Festival of Percussion. It's a celebration of all things drums and percussion, and in particular, people can experience a virtual reality simulation experience of what it is like to be right amongst the action in a drum line, and they can also have a taste of our Royal College of Music Performance Simulator and try drumming in front of 10,000 people. So I work in the Center for Performance Science, and we're interested in the science and the practice of how people perform. We're also very interested in looking at how performance affects people. How does it affect their well-being? How do they incorporate it into their day-to-day lives? With the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw the arts playing a very important role in people's lives. We saw people consuming more music and watching more videos and reading more books at home. But at the same time, things were very difficult for performing artists. So through a large project called HEartS Professional, we've spent the last 2 years really trying to find out how were people affected, both on the professional side and also the people engaging with the arts.
Lockdown and the pandemic was, to say it was a challenge for the performance sector would be an understatement. It was devastating for the performance sector across disciplines. But in particular, the really social nature of performance, I think, was something that really came into stark focus. And there were a lot of performers who, even if they don't necessarily think about how collaborative and how social their discipline is, they really felt it keenly when they suddenly couldn't leave their home. And not only did their art suffer because they couldn't access the resources, but their social networks, both professionally and personally, in the way that those gel, also really took a hit.
Our collaboration with the UAL Creative Computing Institute began with a project called VR Rehearse and Perform. And this was a project to recreate our main concert hall here at the Royal College of Music in a virtual space. In this collaboration, we saw so much potential for using this technology to create new experiences for musicians and audiences. So this is why when we were putting together the HEartS Professional project, we were very keen to continue that partnership. We wanted to see how these technologies that we were working on might be used to help us expand and bring back the entire sort of performing arts industry in full force, with as many new tools as possible coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Being part of this project is super exciting because one of the things I love about working at CCI is that you're involved in cutting-edge technology being driven by creativity. And this is a really great example of that, because we're bringing together our expertise from CCI and the musical expertise of RCM and combining it into creating a tool. And some aspects of this tool aren't ready yet. I'm willing to admit that the technology isn't where we want it to be. But one of the things we get to find out from the project is knowing where we need the technology to get to and being ready when that happens to really create the tools we're trying to create for artists.
One of the things we're doing today as part of our research is then asking people after this is done, what did you think of it? Did you find it engaging? Did you find it disorienting? Did you find it boring? Did you find it immersive? And it's really important in these early days to get this general sense of how are people reacting to it? Are we sort of moving in the right direction? As these technologies become more commonplace, we want to make sure that we've got the tools that musicians really want and need. Tools made by musicians for musicians, so that it really meets the challenges they have.
The utility and the potential for virtual reality and other immersive technologies is huge in performance. VR in particular has potential for perhaps helping musicians in the unique conundrum they have, where they're really good at practicing and they spend a lot of time doing it. But then when they get to their performance venue, that environment is not at all like the environment where they practice. And then suddenly going to a grand stage where there are spotlights, there's an audience, and all these other cues can really make people feel unsettled. But potentially with VR and other simulation technologies, it can recreate to some extent what a performance venue might look like, but without the same stakes and without the same pressure. So it can help musicians learn how to actually practice performing.
As we've been thinking about our next steps and what the future might bring, something we're really excited about is this world of so-called mixed reality. And we're looking for opportunities for us to continue our collaborations, to be able to take these ideas and make them real.
This collaboration of people from lots of different institutions coming together and working together in a really amazing way. And everyone who's worked on it has brought something different and a different knowledge and really been involved in a really fundamental way. So we'll definitely be looking at how to use this either as a knowledge exchange project or potentially as a further research project?
So this is really part of the sort of the future of musical learning, of musical teaching, of musical experience as we see it. Using these new technologies to expand what we can do as musicians and expand what we can experience as audiences. And hopefully in such a way that doesn't cut us off from the world, that doesn't sort of close us in a particular reality, rather one that helps us connect with other people the way that music has always served in our communities. We want technology to be something that brings people together, not sort of divides us apart. And we hope that music and the performing arts are going to be the way that we can do that to make sure technology is a connecting force in our communities.